Hi everybody. This is my vegetable garden, little bit of flower garden area. As you can see, it is a failure for this year just because I didn't take very good care of it. So we couldn't get normal mulch to be delivered. So I used hay to mulch the garden. And unbeknownst to me that the hay can grow this crazy fast. This is tall fescue. We had bought a big bundle of hay from a farmer. And I'm like, hey, I'll just use the hay for mulch around my garden. And that would be great, except they all literally went to seed. So I have tall fescue grass growing all over my vegetable garden. So they didn't do very well this year. And my watering is a little bit off just because we've been gone a couple times and just got crazy with doing things. And then it got too hot. There is no irrigation system set up. I just have a sprinkler over here for this first year. So trial and error. I am definitely not going to be using hay to act as a mulch, a top, I guess, layering to help with the water retention, because this is what's going to happen, at least for me, in my experience. So next year, what we're going to do this year actually is leave everything, and then comes fall time, we're going to work all of this into the ground, till it up, put some chicken manure, and then just basically cover it up. And then in springtime, it'll be fertile, and then we can redo it again. And then we're gonna do the trench method, no hay as covering. And I don't know, I'm still debating whether we should cover it or not with cloth. I know there's pros and cons to everything, but definitely tried the hay method, and it didn't really, well, okay, it worked if I wanted to grow hay. So areas that I really want to grow hay for the goats, this is definitely a good spot for it. But since it's my garden and I want to actually have more fruits, definitely not going to use that. And look, the dogs love it because they come in here and they lay all over my garden. They love being in a grassy area. So this was my cucumber. Still some stragglies over here. I mean, if I really taken care of them, they would have been fine. Over here is all of the tomatoes that blights. Zena, you okay? Got some grass in your throat? You can see the tomatoes. Some are still producing. These are great. I can't remember the name of it, you guys, but this candy cherry tomatoes are awesome. My husband actually loved them. They're super sweet. And I had a whole bunch growing on this vine over here. But they didn't do as well just because grass took over the entire area. I have over here the marigold, which helps to keep deer, but we didn't have deer issue. You can see the flowers starting to dry off, so that's part of why I have this bag. I'm gonna collect the seed heads and then plant them for next year. So I'm just gonna go in, clip all of them, and then store them for next year, and then plant them. Over here is my section of peppers. They didn't do so well again. Still going. There's a pepper over there, but definitely not grown as tall and as vigorous as the grass. Again, this is tall fescue. There's another, I think this is a giant mammoth jalapeno. And then I got a small little bell pepper over here. But again, the grass just literally has taken over. I was coming out and picking them by hand when I realized that it was growing, but shoot, that definitely, you cannot pick by hand over here. I literally just need to take a weed eater and just weed eat this whole area, but we're going to just till it up, scratch it for this year. I did plant some broccoli. Is it broccoli or broccolini? I can't remember. There was quite a variety over here. You can see it's being eaten. There's some over here. That one has a little bit of a small broccoli head on it. You can see. But again, the grass is overtaking it. I did have some beans over in this corner. They did great, and then something literally just comes and chomps it all up. See? Like the top of it's just getting eaten. So these are beans, some kind of sweet peas, snap peas, I can't remember. Cabbage is over here. This was actually, I did it in the summertime, and they're still doing pretty good. Now that we're approaching fall time, they should be doing great because they're more of a spring, cooler fall crop than summer. Here's another cabbage head over here in the midst of the grass. The grass is like 4 feet tall. Another couple cabbage over here. Okay, so these are the pumpkins I was trying to grow for my husband, the South African pumpkin. I did a video earlier this summer. They never really took, probably because of my lack of water. They all died back, so I'm going to use these pumpkins for fall decoration. You can see they're starting to turn. But there's quite a few in there that turned. Like, here's one over here. See, small little tiny pumpkins. For decoration wise, I'm going to use, but definitely not for eating this year. So I got to figure out, this is my first time actually growing pumpkin and squash. Look at how pretty that color is. Definitely reminds me of fall. But they are definitely not big enough for him to eat, so we're going to chuck that up. This is a squash over here that never produced, but you can see it's still flowering. So I'll just kind of leave everything here. Let me see. My watermelon over here seems to be doing okay. I got 2 watermelon. Sadly enough, the neighbors who've had more experience gave me some of their watermelon, and it was delicious. So I'm going to need to figure out and hone in on my gardening skill. But this one looks like it's doing good. Small though, super small compared to the ones I had at the old house. Over here I have celosia, however you say it. They're doing all right. Definitely not 2 to 3 feet tall like I imagined, but I think that's because of me and the conditioning of the soil. I thought it would be better. I don't know if it's not getting enough water to make it grow, but it's flowering. You can see all the little red spots. And then there is amaranth, I believe, over here. Definitely didn't get as tall either. They're only about 1 foot tall. But they're pretty. So once they're ready, I'll come over and save the seeds and then redo it for next year. I'm hoping that by next year I can put them in pots. Here is my zucchini. Definitely not doing so hot. Looks like it's super dry. But I do have a zucchini. And then the corn over here. The corn is pretty beat up. But just trying it out for the first year. Now, if I had to feed myself with my garden, I would definitely not survive this season's growth. But lots of learning. A little bit of corn growing over here. Just a couple little pieces. So I planted 3 rows of corn. Of course, didn't do well in watering them, so they're doing okay. But I definitely did them a lot later, like my vegetable garden, just because we, starting on this new homestead, it's just been taking us longer than what we anticipated. So my vegetable garden didn't come in to play until, literally everybody already had their stuff in the ground, and I'm still trying to till the ground, so it's a little bit late. But you live and you learn, right? So grass is growing great. I wish that's what I had planned for, because then I would be succeeding this year in my grass growing technique. But not so much for gardening. Look at this celosia over here, you guys. It's beautiful. Look at that. Looks like a hot pink brain. Isn't that pretty? So that's how my garden for this year is going to be. Let's chalk it up for next year. I do have things in pots. My tomatoes that survived are in pots. They're doing great because they get watered regularly and they get good fertile soil. I think this soil just needs a little bit more amending. But yeah, you live and you learn, you guys. I hope you guys all have better success than I do. And hopefully by next year, I can hone in on my skill a little bit more. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. You guys take care. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.